Hi guys, so it's the Phoebe Swill platform. Of course, I am Phoebe Swill. In today's program, we're talking about the use of social media. And that has been inspired, well, when I look at social media, a lot of people just misuse social media. Is it because they don't know how to use it, or it's quite confusing? So you wonder why people misuse the social media. So today we're talking about it. You see people sharing contents. Now, whether it's fake, whether it's real, you don't know, you're just sharing. How do we put a stop towards sharing negative things on social media? How do we use the social media positively? I'll give you an example. I am one person, I've always been telling people, I have always been in the African continent. I've only been away from Africa once when I went to China, that's the Asian continent. Those are the only two continents I've been, but I speak good English. You know why? It's social media, it's how I use it. In my phone, you would not find games. Now, I'm not saying playing games or getting games on your phone is wrong. It's not. Don't get me wrong. In my phone, you'll find a mobile dictionary. You'll find grammar app that teaches you grammar. You'll find translation app that will translate English to other languages. So if you'd want to learn other languages, you would do that. So I have all these things teaching me how to do things that I want to do. If I struggle with the pronunciation, I go to my phone, I type it on the dictionary, the mobile dictionary, and then I listen. It's teaching me how to pronounce words correctly. So that is all part of social media. And some people don't even know that. Others, you would see them just sharing things. It's about listening to music. When I'm on YouTube, because I'm into the media world, every week I make it mandatory for myself to listen to at least one video a week, a tutorial on modern day broadcasting, because I want to learn. I don't necessarily need to be in the confines of a classroom to learn. I use that to learn. I'm on YouTube looking for Oprah Winfrey, who I love dearly. I'm looking at her videos. I want to see what she's doing. I'm also into Tyler Perry. He does a lot of movies that inspire me. I watch what they're doing. So I'm not always just there to look at fun videos and laugh. Yes, sometimes I do. I look at Kansime's video, I watch, I laugh because she's my favorite African comedian. But I spend the bulk of my time learning things on social media. Prior to now, our people did not have internet. We do in our generation. How do we take advantage of it to benefit ourselves instead of just seeing something negative about Phebe and Swill that you think, oh, it's fun, let me just jump into sharing? How do we use social media for our own benefit? So today, to talk about that on my show, I have Precious Amabelebi. She is one of the online journalists we have. Her Facebook Live is very popular. She's at events, covering it live on social media. She's also bringing on board people on her live platform on Facebook to talk about sensitive issues. That is a Sierra Leonean using social media positively. So we'll talk about how she started that, how the journey has been so far, and the positive gains. Then I also have Mohammed Mutala Kamara, who is with us. He is the CEO for Salon Jamboree, but he's not here in that capacity. Quite recently, they organized the first social media award in Sierra Leone. Now, what inspired that? They must have seen that there is something good about the social media, and there is a way we could come on board to get people on the right track. So yes, I have these two people. Welcome. Thank you for joining me on my platform today.
Thank you, Vivian.
Ladies first, they say Mutala, so I'll come to you later. Precious, let's start with you. You are a young person in Sierra Leone. In Sierra Leone, for us, the young people, when we use social media, it's negatively. It's about, for our Slay Queens, when they go live, it's about, you know that thing they're doing with music videos and they're feeling themselves. You are one of the very few that I know, the first and only that I know, that goes live on Facebook, not just to bluff about the song you're listening to, or your makeup, or your hair, or your clothes, or the restaurants you're at, or the friends you're hanging out with, but things that give other people a sense of, a sense of awareness of what's happening in the country. Either you're covering live events or you're talking about sensitive topics. Let's talk about how that journey started.
Well, I was attached at Star Radio and Television at the time, and going out to coverages, seeing how broadcasting is being done. There were a lot of doctrine of programs coming up because it was at the heat of election, and so fake news were flying all over social media. And even where I was at the time, I could see when you go into the studio to now try to edit your news and all, how they'll tell you how you should tailor it, right? I felt it was unfair. If you're putting out the news to people, you must speak the truth. You must portray the truth and nothing but the truth. And so I said to myself, this is not right. How about now we have Facebook Live? I didn't try it before that day I made up my mind, but there was something I wanted the news to be undiluted. Let the people be the judge of what's happening.
So they see it for themselves as it's happening.
Exactly. Exactly. So I can remember the first time I went live, it was in the studio, and I had 28 viewers. Imagine, I've been on social media, I would be having 500, 800 likes.
That's when you go live for irrelevant things.
Exactly.
But when you go live now for relevant things, then the number is depreciated.
Exactly. So 28, and then my aunt called me and like, Ama, your popularity on Facebook, this shows that Facebook Live is not for you. You should not be doing what you're doing. You might want to revisit. Then I said, Aunt Cecilia, even if it's two people, I don't have a problem with that as long as the news go undiluted. I started having problems with where I was at the moment. I was uncomfortable. And then I said to myself, if I have a phone, why not drop what I was doing and now focus on the live? Good. As God could have it, when issues happen, national concern, going to the marketplaces, there again, this is what people out of Sierra Leone wanted to hear at the time. Not because my platform at the time wasn't catering for just Sierra Leoneans, but those that were out. Because people will be calling, oh, there is fight at Eastern Police. What's happening there? There's horrible pictures. Immediately I'll take a bike and I'll go there, only to find out that there is no riots going there. I'll go live, try to show people how calm the situation is. So that's how I started, as people started believing in me, the authenticity that I was portraying. And so each time I go online, without people knowing what I was going to say, from 28.
Now, yes, your viewership, the base, from 28, now we'll talk about thousands of people logging into your live broadcast on Facebook. How did the transition come about, where now you had more people watching? Because again, some of the problems we have, it's you, the people. So you'll find out that our slay queens want to go online. That's why you see a lot of young people, especially the females, want to post half-naked pictures. Because if I am decently dressed like this and I post it online, I get minimal likes. So you have few people liking and commenting and sharing. But if I go showing you my cleavage, showing you almost everything, that's when you guys come like. A lot of you come to like, a lot of you come to post and share. And people, some of those people just want to feel as if, they're relevant. So the more likes they get, the more shares and comments they get, it makes them feel good. So it becomes a trend for them. Well, every day you just have to be half naked, or you just have to be doing stupid and silly things and then post it because that's what people want to see. How did you stay on course, especially with that call you had from your aunt? Why didn't you just say, well, let me just drop this whole thing off and just, I'll be doing the usual slay mama and slay queen thing?
I had a focus. I had a goal. I was determined to be the change at the time. I didn't want to just do it for elections. I wanted to continue. So when you go with national broadcasters, before they go to the station, to the editing room to edit, your news will already be there. And so before somebody tried to make up story for you, they will now refer you to Precious page to say, go and see the reality of it. So that was how people started to come on board on my show. So you have, when I come online, like I'll have like 1,000 people on the go. that is there live watching. Again, it depends on what I come to talk about. If it's national issues, things that have to do with political parties, you will have 30,000 people coming on.
Because it's politics.
If it's entertainment, we have 65,000 people coming on to watch from all parts of the world. But amidst the difficulties that I was having at the time, because I broke my phone the day they announced the elections results whilst going to the swearing-in ceremony. I had an accident on a bike, so my phone was smashed.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I had those difficulties, but it didn't deter me from doing what I wanted to do. So I remained consistent. I had people come and say, "Oh, Precious, can we buy you a phone or a tripod or something in this country that are from political parties?"
Because at that point, you were making an impact now. This is where I bring Mutala in the conversation. Mutala, social media is something that can be used positively and negatively. But if you really look at Sierra Leone, you really don't need a statistic. You don't need a figure from any official institution. Just by using your WhatsApp, your Facebook, and all the social media platforms, you would know that majority of the people are using social media negatively. And you quite recently started the Social Media Awards. Why?
First of all, let me thank you very much for having me on your platform. I'm also honored to be here with an award, social media award winner for the first one that we organized. For me, this issue, of social media is very close to my heart. For me, social media is business. For me, social media means family. And interestingly, what most people don't know is I met my wife online.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And she's a Nigerian. We met on Facebook, and the rest is history now. 4 years in marriage.
The rest is history with 3 kids. Yes.
Yes. So social media has impacted our lives greatly, and social media is here to stay. I always tell people I consider myself very lucky, to be part of this generation.
Yeah.
These tools that we have makes us very, very powerful. But it's rather unfortunate, when you come back home, the story is quite different. Most of them, most of the young people, back home in Sierra Leone, they prefer to use social media, for negative things. When you use social media, for negative things, the impacts, fade out. So the idea of, we realized there's a problem, so we decided, how do we tackle this problem? And creating laws, you make the laws, but it's difficult, to police social media. Even Western world, places like America, they have tried it. It's not working.
I think only China is getting it so far. Well, trying.
Yes.
Because even with that, it's not 100%.
Even when they police, for example, Facebook in China, if you use the VPN network, you have access, to your Facebook. So it's difficult, to police the internet. And the best way to encourage young people, to make good use of social media is by rewarding them. Take for example, young people like Precious. She's a very good example. I follow her, on Facebook, and during the elections, I don't say this, often, but we are one of my sources, for credible information, on social media. Especially there was a time when there was this fracas wherein one person was killed at President Bio's. Yes. I followed you.
Yeah.
Yes, I followed you your live streaming, and we want to showcase young people that are making good use of social media, and to encourage others that are misusing social media to use it responsibly. So that's the idea of the Social Media Awards. We did the first one. Precious, happens to be one of the Social Media Award winners, and hopefully by the end of this year we intend to do the other one. Like I said earlier, these tools that we have are very powerful. You made mention in your intro of how you use social media to learn new things. If you go to YouTube, for example, I say YouTube, I always tell people that YouTube is the biggest online university.
Exactly.
It's free of charge.
Exactly.
Even
the Google people, jokingly when people ask you things, you go back talk, go ask Google.
Yes.
But yes, it is. There is a lot of things on Google you could learn. It's so easy to go online and learn things without even going to the classroom.
Okay.
It's that platform, but we don't really take advantage of it. Notala, where do you see this problem? Is it that people don't know how to use the social media, or they do, but it's just by choice to use it negatively?
This is a brilliant question. The problem we have in Sierra Leone, like I always say, whether it's politics, people say it's politics, but for me it's not politics. The biggest problem we are facing in Sierra Leone is the mindset problem, and especially, for young people. People prefer to use social media for chilling. I'm not saying it's wrong, to use WhatsApp, for chilling. But you can also set up WhatsApp group, to do business, e-commerce businesses. Most people don't know that the Pathfinder that I am using, I bought it on WhatsApp. Before I saw it on WhatsApp, then I called the owner, we discussed, we negotiated, I bought it. So we want to encourage young people to make good use of these platforms. Take, for example, a classic example, this show that we are watching.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. People follow it on YouTube.
At some point, I had a challenge because this show started on 1st November 2015. I would always remember that date. Till date, there has always been a challenge with the media institutions. At first, I had some of them asking me to pay to broadcast my show. Whereas in other countries, it's content. I'm providing you content. You pay me. But if you don't have that money to pay me, you are not supposed to be asking me to even pay you for this. So there was a challenge. And sometimes, they will just look and say, oh, no, we have a game or there's something coming up. And I'm like thinking, when you broadcast on the television stations or on radio, it's just 1 hour. They're done. Maybe you wanted to listen or watch, but you're so busy you couldn't, so you've missed it. The only time is another repeat, and how often do they repeat it? But when it's online, you could always come back at your leisure to look at it. You could watch 1 million times, it's up to you. So I changed my pattern. I don't focus on television stations and radio. I have my own television on YouTube, which is where people go. And I realized I have more views now, and my show is making more impact now than it was when I was focusing on television and radio.
Thank you. So that's a classic example of a positive use of social media. If you do the statistics, like you said, you have more people watching your show on YouTube than people watching actually on some of these TV stations. So we want to encourage more young people. We want them, to follow the likes of the Swill and the Precious. Because there are lots of them, out there. They have the smartphones. The only thing you need is the smartphone. They have the data. Make good use of social media. Use social media responsibly.
So how do we teach the young people how to positively use the social media? We'll get to talk about that. This is the Phebe Swill platform, and we're here broadcasting from Golden Tulip Hotel, the beautiful Kimbima. It's a lovely place to be. Beautiful rooms, nice venue for different occasions, whether it's a conference, it's a wedding or a party, whatever it is a beautiful venue at Aberdeen. We'll take a break, a message from our sponsors, Sierra Pharmatech, Rokel Commercial Bank, and Shalima. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
SIM Couple allow old and young to make deposit and withdraw cash from their account at any time and anywhere. With Rokel Commercial Bank SIM Couple, you can send and receive money at any place and any time. Rokel Commercial Bank don't make life better for we all.
Farmers from across the globe have a strong bond and passion for the soil, which leads to nurturing of the land. What they need is the support of high-performing agricultural solutions. With a wide variety of implements like rotavators, self-propelled combines, disc plow, MB plow, Diggs harrow, cultivator, reversible MB plow, and other implements. We are confident that the coming years will bring greater results with the trust and confidence of our associates, business partners, and customers on our products and services. Sonalika tractors range from 20 horsepower to 120 horsepower. We are ready to address the coming challenge of food security, highest customer satisfaction, and superior agricultural solutions. For distribution and dealership, contact Shalima Trading Company, 40B Wilkinson Road, Freetown. Telephone 099 909012. Sonalika.
Welcome back. This is the Phebe Swill platform, and that was a message from our sponsors. We're still discussing the use of social media. How do we teach our young people? I always emphasize on the young people for a good reason. So you see, when you want to make a change, you start with the young people, because once you do it, you're teaching them something new they could practice, and it's knowledge they can transfer to the next generation. You see, they say you don't teach old dogs new tricks. So I'm always with that opinion that if you really want to make a change, you target the young people. So yes, how do we now teach the young people, Mutala and Precious, how to positively use the social media? I'll start with you, Mutala.
Well, I think it takes a smartphone with data, and most of them, they have these smartphones. They have data. And also the most important thing is the choice, because listening to Precious' story, it started with a decision. I want to do this, despite what people they may say, about, this whole thing. So it's a choice. And a classic example of Sierra Leone, when you look at, young people, they like to follow good examples. It will take time. Social media is new. What we are facing in Sierra Leone is not unique to Sierra Leone. If you go to other places, it's that's why people refer to it as new media.
New media, yeah.
It takes time. With good examples like the Swill and the Precious, I am sure most of, especially young girls will follow, your footsteps and what you are doing. But so this is a good platform, to encourage them, to make good use, of social media. But the most important thing, like I said, it starts with you. You have to decide, how you want to use this platform. Social media, is here to stay. It's difficult, to imagine life without social media these days.
It is.
Yes.
Precious, what are your thoughts? How do you think we could get the young people to understand the positive and negative use of social media, thereby they know what choices to make, how to use social media positively?
Educating them. And you must be consistent in doing that. I have over and again mentioned consistency because it's the key. People do not learn at one go. Some learn over time. So you doing what you're doing, keep on telling them. Like yesterday, I was at Susan's Bay. New Gem had a program. I used my phone to demonstrate to them. I illustrated how to use it when they have emergency. Instead of you using the normal video and laughing about it, go live. Somebody somewhere will be helping. And something important happened yesterday. 2 of the girls there were going through a lot. Sexual abuse and another some emotional stress. Right on my platform, we were doing the live. People from overseas now called. They wanted the contact of those kids. Now, it's through social media, you understand? And I deleted 2 people from this past housemate salon, from my Facebook page. Why? I warned them once, when you go on social media, I don't be friends with people who misuse. It misrepresents what I stand for. And I'm not going to water down my stance because of friendship. So I had to delete them. They came to me, Precious, why did you do that? I said, this was it. And so now they had to revisit and promise me that when they go back, they will use it for their good. Because now when you're a face, those celebrities, will take them now as icon celebrities. Don't use it negatively, use it wisely. How do you do it? Now, each time you go live, for example, let's take Bintu and Didi. They are the most popular, I would say.
Yeah,
if they go live now, they start doing donations, they start talking about power couple, they start talking about education, everybody will stand to listen. Why? Because they have the base. But if they start going out there smoking shisha and doing
just
all
showing a life that we're living good life, we're having fun, life is it.
Exactly. So you have to consistently be teaching the young ones and lead by example. Let me not tell them to be doing live, be using it wisely, and the next time they see me, I'm at the White House, happening now, oh, I'm here chilling.
How does that make an impact in someone's life?
Exactly.
For the general public, Mutala, for some people, it's it's not as if they do it intentionally.
It's not.
It's innocently. They just see these things and they feel like, I want to share the news. I want other people to be informed. So for those people who are watching or listening right now, what way do they tell that this is real, this is fake? I should share this or I shouldn't share this?
So what I want to say, if you are not sure of a particular story, don't share it. So that's the first start. If you are not sure of a particular story, don't share it.
And there's this race, almost like a competition, where everybody wants to feel I was the first person to share the news. It came from me.
Yes.
That in itself.
This citizen journalism, everybody wants to be a journalist now, on the spot. You want to be the first to report a story, without even verifying. The last election, what they did in Nigeria, they set up a team, a group of journalists, because fake news also was a big problem in Nigeria during the elections. They had supports. They set up this group, to verify stories. It's like a source. Their website is there. If you see a particular story that you are not sure of, you can always reach out. Their contacts are all there. You can always reach out to them, to verify. But here it's a bit different.
So the first thing people should learn, when you see it, verify the source.
If you are not sure of the source, don't share it.
That's a tough one. It comes to the commitment of people and the willingness to want to do what's right.
Because most of these people, what is happening online now, people are creating websites. For them it's just about the numbers. And they say bad news actually sell. So it's deliberate. What they are doing is deliberate. They know these stories are fake and they are doing it deliberate to get the following.
Yeah, Nelson Mandela died several times before his actual death.
Yes. So
they will just come one day and say, this person is dead. Oh, that person has been arrested. This is this, that is that.
So it's deliberate. So like I said earlier, always try to verify before you share.
Now that is a challenge. So that is the information you get. Verify before you share. But for the ordinary citizens, let's bring that into the Sierra Leonean context. So if there's, for example, a breaking news on social media about, let's say, something about politics or a political figure, and you, as citizen journalist, you don't have access to, let's say, place a call through to maybe the political party or the individual to confirm, what do you do in that instance?
Let me give you a classic example of how I use social media that most people don't know about. Certain times when issues comes up on social media, I deliberately don't comment, on certain issues because I don't have the facts. If you see me making comments on issues, I've done my investigations, I have verified, I have my facts. But most time, the other day somebody was asking, hey, this issue be happening, or no, you talk. I said no. It's not deliberate that I don't want to comment on this issue, but I want to make sure behind the scenes I get all my facts, before I go on social media.
Slow but sure.
Slow but sure. If you don't have the facts, don't go about making statements, on issues, share stories when you don't have your facts.
Precious, let me hear your thoughts on that. He has given the advice. If you're not sure of the source, don't share. But still getting people's commitment to do what's right. So sometimes it's not the case that people don't know what to do. You know, the knowledge of right from wrong is not lacking in human beings. We always know. But we still, the courage to do what's right poses as the biggest challenge to us.
Politics has brought everything in our country, and even with the young ones. Many a time when these issues happen, when you see things that people share, it's 99.9 many of the time linked with politics in Sierra Leone. I have a program on Moments with Precious, the night show. I tell people, do not force me to come and say things that I do not have authority over. When I see something, I go to the respective parties. I do not hear from one side and come. Sometimes I said maybe it's because I've been a court journalist for quite a while, and so I'm afraid of going behind bars. So I'm very tactful. I want to speak with authority. So when I quote someone, I have evidence to the effect. So I'm not hasty to come and say, oh, well, it's happening. When I do my live, if it's something one-sided, I never bring it up. I'll say, okay, I've heard this. Let me get to the roots of it. Like, for example, the issue with Zainab and Junior Navo. People wanted me to come up with it, to bring it, because I had Junior Navo's side, but I couldn't get Zainab. I did not want to be biased. So I said, okay, I'm not going to talk about this. When Caldinero's own came, I was able to talk about. People were like, oh, Precious, but you did not respond. Over and again, I let people understand that Moment with Precious is not here to fade out. If it's supposed to be sustained, it takes authenticity
and credibility.
Exactly.
Now, the punishment for that. Sierra Leone does not have a regulatory policy on social media. So I say to people, by extension, the only law you could bank on is the Public Order Act of 1965 with seditious libel, defamation, and all of it. Mm-hmm. So by extension, you could use those to prosecute, well, issues of such on social media. But that is something the government is looking at repealing anytime soon. Once that happens, so we're faced with a situation where you could easily assassinate my character on social media and there is no way for me to prosecute you. Do you have an advice for us as a country in moving forward in that regard? Social media is here to stay. Tell no lies about it, it's here to stay. In the long run, how do we fix it? When people go beyond, when they go overboard. Precious is an adult. In the confines of her home, she feels like doing adult things with people. It's none of my business to go film her and share on social media. But I could do it right now and walk away freely. How do we fix this?
It's a tough one, Swill. And, even in advanced, places like the US, they still have these challenges. How do we fix, social media? So it's not something unique to Sierra Leone. But what happened, in Sierra Leone is that...
do you see the need for an urgent policy drafting of regulation of social media?
Yes.
Well, maybe not just regulation, but policies as to when you overstep your bounds, how to bring you to book.
That's a good question. The policies are good, but getting the policies, what's happening in Sierra Leone most time is that we get all those policies, but we don't have the resources and manpower, to implement some of these policies. Take for example, if they say we have a cybercrime unit,
Exactly, and you begin to wonder, what is the cybercrime unit doing? Are they well capacitated? Do they even know how to investigate these issues?
The reality is, it is not there. When you go to CID...
As you say that, it's quite interesting because we do remember what happened with the Speaker of Parliament quite recently. So if we do have a cyber office, was there an arrest made? Mm-hmm.
Mostly what they do is that when they get cases like this, they call the cell phone companies, to, trace, the source of. But in actual fact, I was expecting, for them to get a lab, get the people with the right training and the equipment, to do. The laws are there. They will tell you that somebody, if you say somebody posted something about you on Facebook, it's difficult right now, to trace it, because WhatsApp is there, but it's difficult, to know, to trace who actually posted, who was the first person that posted this thing about
the
Swill.
source the source of the
how
thing
where it
itself.
started. It's difficult, for you, because they don't have the resources, they don't have the manpower, to do that. So creating the laws, is good, but we need to go beyond creating, those laws. We don't have the resources, we don't have the manpower, to do
Yes,
some of those
Precious,
things.
I see you're itching to add to that.
Yes, well, we're talking about seditious libel law, which every journalist, I'm sure, wants it to go through for the president to
just repeal the
it
law, yeah.
and all. So
And once that goes, it means even things like social media, that you could say, if you post, I'll hold you for defamation or libel and blah, 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 you would not have people going under that law again.
to every right, there is a responsibility. I am creating on the indulgence of government officials or those that are responsible before they eventually bring it out. Let there be rules and regulations when you overstep those boundaries, and let them be rigid. Let the people be capacitated, right, to say when you go overboard, this is what is going to happen.
Yeah, so an alternative to that, because mind you, that law is not just there for journalists. Ordinary citizens whose characters are being assassinated every now and then. That is the only law they could bank on to take people to court or hold them accountable. So if it's gone because us as journalists were calling for it to be repealed, what happens to citizens who face character assassination and want to prosecute these people? Would come to finalize that discussion in the last half of the program. This is the Phebe Swill platform. We take a message from our sponsors, Sierra Pharma Tech, Rokel Commercial Bank, and Shalima. And don't forget, we're at the beautiful Golden Tulip Kimbima Hotel.
Sim Couple allow old and young to make deposit and withdraw cash from their account at any time and anywhere. With Rokel Commercial Bank SIM Couple, you can send and receive money at any place and any time. Rokel Commercial Bank don't make life better for we all.
Farmers from across the globe have a strong bond and passion for the soil, which leads to nurturing of the land. What they need is the support of high-performing agricultural solutions. With a wide variety of implements like rotavators, self-propelled combines, Dix plow, MB plow, Dix harrow, cultivator, reversible MB plow, and other implements. We are confident that the coming years will bring greater results with the trust and confidence of our associates, business partners, and customers on our products and services. Sonalika tractors range from 20 horsepower to 120 horsepower. We are ready to address the common challenge of food security, highest customer satisfaction, and superior agricultural solutions. For distribution and dealership, contact Shalima Trading Company, 40B Wilkinson Road, Freetown. Telephone 099 909012. Sonalika.
Welcome back to the Phebe Swill platform. It's the last half of the discussion for this episode. What advice would we be able to give to the government? Well, necessary MDAs as to how to go about regulating the social media. Obviously, we cannot get it 100% right. Countries like America, China, with all the advancements, Germany, Russia, they've not been able to get it right. Udana, we small salon to get it right. But as in, we need to start to make baby steps towards getting to that point. This is what I'd like to hear from both of you. What advice or what guide would you give to the government as to how to go about regulating it? Let's start with you, Mutala.
The policies are fine, but for me, I would say we start with capacity building, and let us make effort. The reality is, the leadership most times don't understand. Mind you, like I said earlier, it's new media. That's why people refer to it as new media. Most time people don't know how some of these things work. You see some old school people, still have challenges with using WhatsApp. Not to talk of Facebook.
My dad was never on Facebook before he died. I opened a Facebook account for him. I gave him the login details. He was never there. To come to WhatsApp, it took him like ages. So yes, they do struggle with it. But young people,
they actually don't understand how social media works. For starters, I would say let us make effort, to know exactly how social media works. Because creating laws, you need to understand what social media is. Before you are able. To create laws, that benefit, social media. It's not just about creating something when you don't know, how these things work. And recently, I heard that the Chinese, sponsored parliament with all these IT and technical.
How do you know they will not hack into the system?
Well, it's not just about hacking. How many of them
know how to
use these tools? So I want to encourage them, want to challenge them, to make effort, to understand, what social media is and how do we use social media, and also build the capacity, of them, because there are existing laws. You made mention of the
1965
Public Order Act. But the laws are there. But let us build the capacity, get the manpower, to get people to implement these laws. Let's say if we want to create laws to monitor, to regulate social media, we have people that have the capacity to implement, to trace the sources and all that. So for starters, let's focus on that, and let's keep the conversation going. We started with the social media awards, and we want to encourage people to keep that conversation going. We want government, people from the private sector. We need platforms, like this. We need town hall meetings, to discuss, social media. How do we fix social media?
Now, this would just be the start of the conversation, maybe an eye-opener to people about social media. So we begin to sit, reflect, and think critically. Where do we want to go in terms of social media? Where do we want to see Sierra Leone in the next coming years in addressing issues of social media? But just before we wrap up this episode, Mutala, I'd like you to give, you could use it as your closing courtesies to the government and to the people who use social media. So you'll both do it, but in turns.
I just want to encourage young people, especially young people, to use social media responsibly. The social media awards is coming, and we are watching. Somebody actually suggested that we need to also look beyond just rewarding people that are using social media responsibly. Said you guys need to name and shame people in your awards, but it's something we are still discussing.
Wouldn't that be a waste of resources? You waste your resource to name and shame someone who's not relevant. Because I say that's not relevant.
It's just a suggestion. So social media awards is coming again, and we are looking at, we are following, young people that are using social media responsibly. We want to celebrate these young people, and we hope that others will follow, the good works, of people like you, Swill, and my
Precious.
sister Precious. And interestingly, we have lots of young people that are using social media well. Take for example Ishmael Alfred. Charles.
Yeah, raising funds for
Raising
sick
funds.
babies.
Yes, all of us. Look at, it's, like I said, it's a decision, it's a choice, for use social media the good way or use it the bad way. Look at the impact that some of us have on Facebook.
Yeah.
Look at how we have impacted communities, how we have provided scholarship, for individuals, and how we have supported communities just on Facebook. It just take a post,
And
on
part of the
Facebook.
benefits of that, you don't limit your success in Sierra Leone, because when you're online, people out of Sierra Leone, I tell people that every day, oh, go check out my website, oh, check out my Facebook, check out my YouTube. So you really don't need to be in Sierra Leone. Just looking at it out of Sierra Leone, you're like, oh, okay, there's this individual who's making an impact. So it even sells you beyond just Sierra Leone, which in itself brings about a whole wide basket of opportunities for you in and out of Sierra Leone. You never know who's watching from anywhere and what opportunity would pop up. Yes, Precious, your closing courtesies to people and to, well, the government too.
In this capacity, when I talk to the government, I would like to talk to Her Excellency, the First Lady, Madam Fatima Javibio, because she has been a media person and she believes and loves and respects the media. She calls the media her friends. And so, social media is one part of journalism. And we that are coming up, we that are doing well in terms of showcasing Sierra Leone to not only Sierra Leoneans but to the world, to have a different feel of Sierra Leoneans and the good things that are in Sierra Leone. I am asking her, through her, please, to talk to the president, since the president is interested in the new media, that they think of ways of incorporating social media into the national traditional broadcasting curriculum, that they give us the same respect and they monitor us the same way they do the traditional
So
media.
equal space for operation.
Exactly.
To the people who use social media, what would be your advice to them?
Use social media for the right thing, because the world is a global village. Everybody knows everybody. And in today's world, when people want to hire you, if I ask for Phebe Swill, the next thing I'm on my phone checking you out. So I'm encouraging everyone, every young person out there, use social media for the right purposes. Use it at your advantage. Post positive things, things that will benefit you, things that will give good recommendation for you, so that if you want to go and be a banker, you go to the bank and you go for an interview. When they check out your Facebook, your YouTube, your Instagram, they know you are the best candidate and not the opposite. So, social media is the new power to young people. Make use of it.
And just before, yes, Mutala,
Just to add,
something.
before we close, and what most young people don't know is that most of these embassies, when you go there for visa interviews, they check your Facebook page. You don't know that. They follow you, And also, when you apply, for some of these conferences, abroad, you say you are a journalist. Now they don't ask for your newspaper, send us your newspaper. They ask for your Twitter handle. They want to see some of the things that you are posting on Twitter. They want to follow you on Facebook and see some of the things that you're sharing on Facebook. So use social media responsibly. You might not know tomorrow.
Yeah. Precious, just before we go, let me use this platform also to promote your show. Tell the people about the Moment with Precious show, what it is about, how often you come online, so those who are watching who have not been a part of it can also tune in and be part of your show.
Okay. So Moments with Precious Chat Show is a platform that gives Sierra Leoneans in and out of Sierra Leone the opportunity to talk about issues of national concern. On Moments with Precious, we talk about everything and anything. And usually we come up every day, 8 p.m. Every evening, 8 p.m. we come up and we talk about things. And so...
What's your Facebook address, your Facebook handle? How do they join you on Facebook?
Okay, so you can join me on Precious Amabel Leby. The Leby is Lebby. And so once you get there, I have a professional page. You can get all my works from there, and we can continue the conversation.
So yes, we're talking about the positive use of social media. I'll allow you guys to share your various social media handles to those who've been watching and listening who would like to follow you on your various platforms. Again, Precious.
Hey, so you can get me on Facebook on Precious Amabel Lebby, on Instagram Moments with Precious, on LinkedIn Moments with Precious, on on YouTube Moments with Precious, on Twitter Moments with Precious _2017.
Yes, Mutala.
Well, I don't know if you want my personal or
Whichever you want to share. If it's your personal, share it. If it's both personal and official, feel free.
well, Salon Jamboree is there. We are also on Facebook. Salon Jamboree website is www.salonjamboree.com. We are also on Facebook. Search for Salon Jamboree. We have a Facebook page. We are also on Twitter, the same Salon Jamboree @Salon Jamboree. My personal account is Mutala Muhammad Kamara. But unfortunately, I've reached my limit.
Maximum.
But you can also, yes, 5,000 and 7,000 some hundreds followers, on Facebook. But if you try to add me, you just follow me, on the same account, because I set my page, in that way, so you can still follow me, Mutala Muhammad Kamara. And you can also find me on Twitter @Mutala Muhammad. That's the Twitter handle, @Mutala Muhammad. And
Instagram.
I am personally, I have an account, on Instagram, but
I don't put. I'm not a. Okay.
Yes, I don't. Yes, I prefer Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn also.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go to LinkedIn, it's Mutala Muhammad Kamara.
Your Limey accounts. If you guys are on Limey,
I don't have an alignment.
you guys should be on Limey.
Yes.
You have a Limey account.
Yes.
What's your address on Limey?
It's the same, Mutala Muhammad Kamara. And interestingly, we need to support local content.
Yeah, because
they are doing
Limey
very
is
well.
the local Facebook.
Yes,
That's
the local
ours,
Facebook,
Limey.
and you can also watch the local TV.
Yeah, on Limey.
Yes, and radio stations, also on Limey. So we need to support
So you
them.
should check Limey out.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a mobile app. Just go to your app store and type Limey. That's LIMEY, and then it would pop up. Now, thank you, Mutala. Thank you, Precious, for being a part of the program. So this is it. For those of you sharing on social media, stop the competition, because there is no competition to say who shared it first. You have to do what's right. If you're not sure of the source, don't share it. That's why we do have traditional and mainstream media where you would see things. So if you've seen it from them, yes, you could go ahead to share, because you don't want to put yourself in an embarrassing situation where you're sharing fake news. And when it comes to news about people's reputation, this is where your conscience needs to come on board. That person is somebody else's mother or father or wife or husband or son or daughter or friend. If it was your relative or if it was you, what would you have wanted people to do? So that thing you expect people to do when it concerns you is the same thing you should do when it concerns others. The same love and respect you expect from people, give the same to others. So if you see, let's say there's an there's an accident, and that person who is a victim of the accident was in a very compromising position, even if they died. If it was you in that accident, you died. Would you have wanted your picture to be shared in that manner? Is that what you would have wanted? If the answer is no, I don't see why you should do it to somebody else. So if there's a video, a sex scandal of somebody, which really is none of our business because we're all adults, let God decide to judge the person if they decide to be immoral. But if it's your father or your mother, would you have wanted people to share? If no, why are you sharing something of other people's parents or loved ones? So always come back to think, this thing I'm about to do, if it was me on the other side, how would I feel? So before you share things, be sure that's the same regard you would have wanted people to extend to you before you go doing it to other people. And to the young people who misuse social media, The same social media, the same phone you use, where you could download Temple on 5-10 versions of it, download Candy Crush. I'm not saying it's wrong. You could have some of those apps in your phone to have fun. It's the same way you could go online and download, let's say, Oxford English Dictionary, for example. It's a mobile app, but it's a dictionary. It's the same way you could use the mobile translator app, download it on your phone. You could use it to learn things like French. You could use it to learn things like Spanish. So you just type a sentence in English and then you click there, translate to Latin, translate to French. It would come up. So you use it to learn. It's the same way you could easily go on YouTube instead of watching videos of fun all day. Don't get me wrong again. You could watch videos. I watch Kansime almost all day when I have time. But you could also make time to learn things. Learn things about what's the invention in the world. In sciences, is somebody going to the moon? Is somebody going to the sun? What's the latest invention in the world? You could learn things, just learn things. Have a curiosity for knowledge. You should really want to learn. So the same way you go to YouTube and watch videos that would teach you, that would empower you, and that would enlighten you. It's not just always about idle things. The same way you go to Facebook and see jokes and shares, the same way you should see things about health tips, things about inspiration. You use them, you share them. So please use social media positively. We hope we've been able to make an impact in your lives, and please spread what you've learned from this episode to other people you come in contact with. I am Phoebe Swill. Thank you and cheers.